What I can say is we've been working on one transaction for 7 years in Indonesia. We were appointed as financial advisor on a project called Central Java IPP. And after 7 years, we have successfully closed it 2 weeks back.
Wow.
It is a more than $3 billion debt transaction. And obviously, Indonesia has gone through a lot of process during those 7 years. But I think to get a 3 billion plus transaction closed eventually is a good outcome, I think. And I think that could probably open up the deal flow for a country like Indonesia. And I'm hoping that even Vietnam, where Gert is working on a few transactions, may also have a chance to close the first IPP in Vietnam. But I think the issue about whether every financing in these markets should be local currency, frankly, these countries don't have local enough liquidity or enough savings to support local currency financing. So it has to be a combination of local currency financing and G3 currency financing, because the liquidity in G3 currencies is significant. Obviously, then the key question is who's taking the currency risk. And that's where maybe to some extent some governments have to take the risk in the meantime while the local currency markets develop. So I always believe that you can't move from a pure sort of international currency financing automatically to a local currency financing market. It has to be a combination, and that eventually can become a local currency financing, but it's not going to happen overnight. And I think, for example, even on projects which we are currently advising on in Asia, we are not looking at pure capital market solution. For example, on one of the projects we are advising on, we are looking at including a fixed rate loan in addition to a floating rate loan, and the fixed rate loan can attract insurance companies or pension funds. So we don't need to have a sort of a typical capital market instrument built into any project financing. So I think there are opportunities for us to do various things in this market, and I think maybe the lower oil prices actually is probably in some ways a benefit for infrastructure financing in Asia, because if I look at project finance volumes globally in the last 5 years, almost 40% of that volume was going to natural resource transactions. So now the natural resource deals are not going to happen for the next 3 to 4 years. So maybe the banks will be more than happy to allocate capital to non-natural resources, which could be power, transportation, water, etc. So I'm quite positive about the outcome for Asia in the next few years.